Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Callum L, and this is Talk with the Titans. You know what, family? I know I haven't done no promotion for this show at all. So what I need you guys to do yet is to hit the like button, hit the like button, and share this show like crazy. Share this on Facebook, and I've already shared this on my Facebook account right now. So go there onto your Facebook. Let me just quickly show you what I'm doing. Let me just show you for the sake of showing you. So quickly, just go and share this on your Facebook account if possible, and let's get this thing rolling, please, please, please. Because you know what, this is going to be a massive show. This is an exposition on Kemet, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce my brother Netjer Neb. Yeah. Netjer Neb to come onto the show and really drill this home for the family. This is really awesome. You know, it's the first time in a long time where we've got our Kemetic American audience, American Titans come onto the show to really expound on the ancient African system and its language and its literature and everything that it actually stands for as well. So let's just get it in. Brother Netjer Neb, introduce yourself, please.
Hey, like to give respects to brother Kalam L. Man, Talk with the Titans TV in London. You know, I just give my respect to y'all. Introduce myself. Everybody know by now. I'm a student of Institute of Kemetic Philology. Second semester student under Dr. Raketi Amin in Egyptian translations, Egyptian grammar, and linguistics. I'm also a student of Dr. Nazir Sati out of the University of Khartoum, out of the Sudan in Africa. That's one of my linguistic teachers as well. And basically, I mean, this ongoing topic has been already agreed upon by me, brother Kalam L, and brother Asar Imhotep. We had this conversation probably 2.5 years ago. All three of us pretty much know about the archaic Egypto-Sudanic writing system. So all of us kind of had agreements if one want to, be observant of the facts, that all of us had agreements. It really wasn't no large margin of disagreement between the three of us, but we did have our own perspective, opposing views in scholarship. This is not man pain. We don't smear each other, get mad at each other, and still come up with good research and still love each other at the end of the day. So this is how we advance research. And brother Kalam L's research of the chem glyph, I actually kind of can agree with more him, because we see in inscriptions where it can entails what he was saying. We see in inscriptions that entail what I was saying. But the problem with me is with Asar's work is that I don't, agree with, the linguistic methods that he's going about of redefining a archaic Egyptian term, or shall I say an old Egyptian term, not archaic, old Egyptian term. And he used daughter languages that's related to ancient Egyptian that came by way of time. Through time and space make languages change. So meanings also change, but still holds a genetic related. If it's semantic change, it might be a little bit of difference, but like a related resemblance to the original, because time and space make language change. So we cannot, as linguists, unless we performing a reconstruction. Now, if you're performing a linguistic reconstruction, that is the only way I can see if you can take a language that's related to it through time and take that meaning and erase the original meaning and put the meaning from the daughter language as the original meaning. That's what I disagree with Asar's work. But I do agree with the geopolitical terms, and I don't agree with stating that Kemet cannot mean something. When you use linguistics, we use it to confirm. We don't use it to as a definite. That is like a no-no in linguistics. Also, when we perform reconstructions, linguists must know that reconstructions are hypothetical. You know, when you look up proto-languages, reconstructions, especially if they are unattested, you know, you start getting into the realms of hypothetical and that type of realm. So when you look up reconstructions, especially when you reconstruct meanings and you reconstruct phones from an ancestor language, if it's unattested, you know, you can't, if no physical evidence to prove it, then linguists do not have to accept that reconstruction. You want me to keep going on, or?
You know what? Yeah, my brother, I just can't wait for this. I can't wait for this. I've been waiting years. You know, it's over 2 years now, coming on most probably to 3 years now, when we first actually started discussing this topic. We was going in, discussing about Kemet. What does Kemet actually stand for? The glyph itself. You know, what is the glyph? You know, that everybody's proposing, you know, different suggestions as to what the glyph actually represents. And you know, I can't wait for this research. I can't wait for my brother Netjer Neb to actually present his research, because I've been waiting a long time for this research. Yeah, we was going back and forth for quite some time, and you know, I'm finally happy that it's here now. So I can't wait. It's actually going to motivate me to get back into my own studies of the language, and you know, do more research into linguistics and see what my brother has, see if I can confirm or disprove what my brother has to offer today. So I can't wait for this, man. Netjer Neb, as soon as you're ready to just put up that slideshow, let me know, because this is just going to be awesome, and I can't wait, because hopefully Asar Imhotep will see this, yeah, and he's going to be like, I need to get back into the lab.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. Yeah, he's gonna have to, because there's a lot of things he has to explain, especially when it comes to the indigenous meanings of these terms. Okay, let's go to my screen share here. Okay, so I guess everyone sees this, correct?
Yep, I believe so. Let me know, family, if you lot can see. I'm going to check on my screen as well, but I believe, yes, you can see it.
All right. Now, as I said before, this is no smear campaign. I respect Brother Asar's work. I respect brothers Kalam Sep El work. That's why, you know, they are some of my top and favorite, actually, African linguists and favorite Egyptian translators in them too. Now, this is where things get kind of complicated with Asar's work, is that on his term is that he states this, of course, y'all see the box, and at the top, you know, I screenshotted his introduction to why scholars today, you know, don't have an proper research method, I guess, or these are certain questions that he's asking or statements that he's saying that the community is not looking into when considering this term. Now, this is interesting because the underlying position of his research is based on this as well. Okay. So instead of going into his work, because there's a lot of things of his article I like as a linguist, you know, the correspondence says, like when he does, you know, linguistic comparisons like myself, and he give a lot of insight into the term, you know, but this is part of the disagreement here. So I based the whole presentation based off of his 4 things that the community is not doing. So I won't have to go inside of his work. So I just answer the 4 questions using my evidence with what he is saying that people are not doing. So let's read the top. He states, this is Asar research here. So he's stating, the controversy stems from varying interpretations of the 049 determinative with the pronunciation value of nut, city or town. Some argue that the word Kemet refers to the color of the soil, and he states mainly from Eurocentric scholars and others. Mainly in the Afrocentric community, he separates that, and he asserts it pertains to the people as it regards the phenotype, black-skinned people. In this essay, I take the position that both camps are incorrect in their assessments. He's saying that both camps, the ones that state that it means black soil, is inaccurate, and he states that the one that states black, meaning black people, is inaccurate. So this means that Dr. Jope's research is invalid. Not everything in his research. He's not saying everything. He's saying that Dr. Jope, Sheikh Answer Jope, a professor, doctor, is inaccurate. Dr. Raketti, who has, some of his work, saw some of his work in her work, is inaccurate. Now, these are professors and linguists, and he's stating that they are totally inaccurate. This is why. He said, this is due to a number of factors. One, not paying attention to the determinatives. Two, exclusively applying the meaning black to the Kim root while totally ignoring the determinative, which clarifies meaning. Really, 1 and 2 saying the same thing to me as a scholar. One, not paying attention to the determinative. Two, exclusively applying the meaning black to the Kim root while ignoring the determinatives. So not paying attention to the determinative and ignoring the determinative is similar. Hold on, I think I hit something that made it bigger.
Don't worry about it, man. Let it be hit because it's nice and clear that way.
You can see it better here?
Sorry?
You can see it better right here?
Yeah, we can see it much better. It's nice and large.
All right, thank you. Okay. Exclusively applying to me, I just went through that. 3, not referring the term in related African languages. I just disagree. I think I know for a fact Coptic. I have sources for the people if they want to find out if Coptic is genetically related to Egyptian. That is a genetic related language. So it is purely valid for linguists to use the different dialects of Coptic, like Sahidic, Bohairic, Fayumic. It's different dialects of Coptic. Okay, so being that Coptic is a genetic related languages, I can source Dr. Jope's linguistic work on Diala, a Bantu language, in which he compared with Egyptian, and he used Coptic and Douala in confirming, comparative work genetically relating languages with Egyptian. So not verifying the term in related African languages. 1. 4, not verifying one's interpretation by contextual use in primary Egyptian documents. Again, another thing that I just totally disagree with. But, this is the brother's research. His research is Asar Imhotep. For everybody that want to know where to go at to get his work, you can type in Asar Imhotep, a lesson in Egyptian determinative, 2014. He states, I got it in bold, it is my contention that the word Kemet means farm, country, nation, or simply livable land. And the meaning black has nothing to do with this term. So it's the choice of words in which I just disagree with his research. Livable land can be related to black land because black soil is, livable. Is things can live in it. It's not burned. It's filled with water. It's livable land. So you can't separate the two when it comes to genetic related languages and extensions and meanings. Okay, let's go. So I set the answer each one scientifically. I gave a response to each one. Each of my response to each of what is not being done. So he states that 1, not paying attention to determinatives. So I state to him that we pay very close attention to determinatives, to the point where as though we explain the different types of determinatives used in adjectives. I want people to know that it's not just one type of determinative. Adjectives can omit determinatives, which means delete them and not even use a determinative. In Egyptian grammar, determinatives can be literal. It can be explained as or it can be Egyptian grammar we call special determinative, which has a metaphoric abstract meaning. So when it comes to determinatives, we don't supposed to look at determinative to determine the functions of the adjectives in its meaning. We have to look at the adjective grammar. What is the grammar for adjectives? So I explain it here. It say not paying attention to determinative. Netjer Neb, student in the Institute of Kemetic Philology, instructed Dr. Raketi Amin in Egyptian translations, grammar, Coptic, and a student of Dr. Nazir Sati, linguistic professor in syntax at University of Khartoum, Sudan, pays attention to not only the determinatives in Egyptian, not only to the determinatives, classifiers, but also the adjective type and the different functions of determinatives in Egyptian adjective formations. So I'm saying that not only do we pay attention to determinatives, we pay attention to the determinatives' its function in different adjective functions. Okay, so it's different types of adjectives in their functions in Egyptian. It's not just one adjective. This is what the brother Asar did not know. I don't think he knew that, because if he did, he would know that determinatives have nothing to do with an adjective at all. Only thing a determinative does is determines what the item is being modified is. And we're going to look through that through the grammar. So one, in adjective, determinatives can be omitted, meaning deleted. So some Egyptian scribes, according to the grammar, don't have to put an determinative in the back of the adjective. They don't do it all the time, only sometimes. Two, determinatives can also replace plural strokes with special abstract metaphorical determinatives. This is actually in Egyptian grammar when you go to in Gardner. And I make note of that and I source that. He explained, as well as Uncle Ra, Egyptian grammar book, as well as Dr. Raketi Amin, as Egyptian teachers, they explain the complexity of adjectives in Egyptian. And in some cases, the adjective be in like an adjective modifier, and the determinative can replace the plural stroke. So it deletes the plural stroke. Then the determinatives become like an abstract meaning, like fat bird or something like that. To describe something that's big, they put a big, like a horse head for a determinative, you know. So it's not just that simple of looking at determinatives and saying this is not what it means. You know, that's, as y'all gonna see, we're gonna find out. Now, three, determinatives can be identical with the determinatives of the noun. We find that in certain adjective functions. So it don't have to indicate a color. For example, you have the adjective modifier for black herbs, in which you don't find no color pertaining, but you find the determinative identical in Kim as the determinative in Shadat herb, as the adjective follows the noun. I hope y'all follow me, those who know the grammar. Now, four, determinatives can also represent what specifically is being mentioned, as I explained, that it can be literal. It can be this item, that's what it is. Two, exclusively applying the meaning black to the Kim root while totally ignoring the determinative which clarifies meaning. Like I said, this seems like a repost of number one. It says applying the meaning black Kim to the Kim root. So we blindly putting blackness to Kim roots while ignoring determinatives. I don't think it's the determinative. This is why. I respond, in adjective functions of Egyptian grammar, there are different types of determinatives used. The type that give literal clarity is normally seen in adjective nouns. The determinative in adjective nouns specifies specifically the literal item being modified, black land, mud, dark soil, or red mountain burn region. Adjective nouns has identical functions as regular Egyptian nouns. So determinatives can also not represent literal sense, but represent abstract metaphorical sense in which specific meaning is not clarified. And I give examples in the next slides. 3, not verifying the term in related African language. Everybody know I'm highly skilled at comparing African languages. I mean, I am now comparing 16 African languages. And me and the professor in Africa, in the Sudan, University of Khartoum, are putting together a research project that's soon to be published in the Nubian Journal. So everyone knows my capabilities of being a linguist and working with linguistic professors for a living. This is what I do for a living. 3, not verifying term in related African language. I say, we look in genetically related languages based on a comparative method of establishing sound laws of phonetic regularity. So I show and prove that we are functioning off a high level of linguistics so we can avoid chance. That's the mission of a comparative linguist, is to genetically relate languages with each other, genetically deduce correspondences so we can avoid chance resemblance with languages. For example, Arabic has similarities with Egyptian. That's factual. English have similarities with Egyptian, but that don't mean English is and within the Egyptian family of languages, because you see resemblances. Example, English and Chinese has certain nouns that resembles each other, but that don't mean English and Chinese is the same language family. So what I've done is I looked up the strongest genetic related languages that we have in our work that shows a strong genetic relation. I used Dr. Theophile Benga's model in which he shows phonetic regularity with Yoruba and Egyptian, and I show my 2 languages that I did with the same type of method of comparing. Then after I compared it with correspondences, I looked into it to see if I can extract and confirm the meaning of black land and the adjective modifier form of black land to see if that we are making a mistake translating. Okay, so I use the Nubian languages of Dongolawi, in which we have established sound genetic correspondences in large sets. Grimm's law is the principle that I operate on. When you look at Grimm's law, you look at phonetic regularity. You look at differences, but those differences prove that those languages are genetic related. Every time you see a certain position of phone, you see in the other language the same phone. That's called phonetic identity, meaning that they are identical. But also you have correspondences that can have a K, like in the Dogon I use. The Egyptian, it might be a sound, but in Dogon it's a sound, which is a G. Okay, so it's different types of correspondences. We use both. At the same time, we show Benga's work as an example of the method that we are using is valid. We give an example of phonetic identity correspondences of the initial vowel K in Egyptian, corresponding with Dongolawi initial K to confirm its meaning being reflexed in genetically related languages. When I mean by reflex, I mean by terms that have been reflexed or inherited from the mother tongue, which is ancient Egyptian, and throughout its genetically related languages like Dogon, Tomoso, and Dongolawi, and Coptic. So we can find and confirm with these languages that, yes, we are 100% accurate scientifically in using and translating the meaning of black land, and scientifically we can translate as black people, but I just didn't have enough time for the black people. I have to do a part 2 for that one. But this is just the black land part. He claims that you cannot. This is what I mean when I teach my students at Netjer. linguistic students, I teach them that never use not. Try not to use that only if you know within the structures of the languages. You know that this language does not have plural markers at the suffix position, but the prefix position. So that's the only time you use that. But when it comes to meanings and transcribing definitions and in Egyptian, we cannot use related languages and erase the original meaning with related languages, because everybody knows the nature of linguistics is through time and space, language change. So if through time and space, language change, it will be impossible for me to use English or Latin, well, English, to erase a Greek meaning. You get me with English. You know, the meanings may change over the centuries, in thousands of years. It might be related, but it might have an overall change to it. So how can I use a change meaning in a later language and take that meaning and override the original meaning in which that meaning derived? So that's the problem. That's the method of which I disagree. I state we use Dogon languages morphologically, corresponding with Egyptian adjective modifiers and Coptic. Demotic languages all retaining the term Black land. So these genetic related languages I'm using all retains that term. So he just stated in 3, not verifying the term in related languages. Well, I use the comparative linguistic method, a sample correspondences to prove that these languages are genetically related. I have other works that show and prove that we at least have over 6 for each language, and 5 is the minimum. And the source for that is Niger Congo and Indo-European by Campbell Dunn. Theophile Benga uses no less than 3 correspondences. Dr. Jope used no less than 3 correspondences. So actually 5 is kind of a lot. Now, that's why, you know, Dunn said it can be debated as well. Now, all these languages are genetic related, as I stated. Go ahead, King.
Hold on. Let me get in there and let's see if I can simplify this for my audience members who may not be well clued up with what we're going into right now. So basically, you're saying that you're utilizing the Dongalao language from Sudan, right?
Yes.
And you're saying that it is genetically related with the Kemetic language or the Medu Neter, correct?
Yes.
All right. And in that being said, you're utilizing the historic comparative method to come to some form of conclusion with the language and to see if there is any cognates or similarities, right?
Correct.
All right. And earlier on, we was breaking down, or you was breaking down the determinatives as well. Determinatives is literally the you know, in the hieroglyph language, what tends to take place is a word is spelled out, and then there is literally an ideogram, okay, or another hieroglyph, which is an ideogram that actually conveys the idea of what this glyph actually means. So for example, sometimes we have something called homonymy, where a word may look or sound or be spelt the same, but they have completely different meanings. And how would you know it has a different meaning? It's simply based upon the determinative at the end of the word, which will alert us to the fact that this is you know, it conveys a different meaning. So for example, we have the words in the English as there. Okay, we have there. We could spell there as in T-H-E-I-R, or we could spell there as in T-H-E-R-E, or we can spell there as in they are as well. So there's all these different ways that if you pronounce it, it may sound the same. But if you add an ideogram or something else just to alert you to the fact, and I know in the orthography of the English, it's spelled differently, but if it was spelled exactly the same, you would need something else to let you know that this is another word. And, you know, my brothers just basically broke that down, the determinatives down as well. So yeah, let me just let you get back into this. I'm just trying to do my best to, you know, make it sound as digestible as possible, because I know quite a lot of my audience may not be familiar with you know, grammar and linguistics itself. So let's get it. Let's get back into it, King.
Thank you, brother, for that. Number 4, not verifying one's interpretation by contextual use in primary documents. Of course, Netjer Neb does this. Easily, we find when we talk in context, we're speaking about inscriptions, physical evidence, documented records of the Egyptians doing this, Egypto-Sudanic people doing this themselves, and as well as art. Art means a lot in Africa. We didn't have TVs and telephones, so we use other means of devices to communicate in long distances. For example, drums. If you look up talking drums, you ever notice why the Medu has a stick for communication? Is because most of the time in Africa, we didn't have telephones to communicate through the tribes. You know, tribal villages was the same. And if you look that up, you'll find the Akan break it down what they call a talking drum. They use drums, boom, 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 to communicate real loud and long distances for other villages. The same way with art form. They use art in maps and archaic not archaic, but Egypto-Sudanic maps. We see color toponyms and oronyms, and we see the topony that deals with water. So they added color not only to ground and soil, according to the art. You know, according to the art. This is according to this. I'm sorry for my language, but forget linguistics, forget grammar. Okay, if we forget that, let's go now to if we can dig into the psychology of the people, literally. And to do that, we must dig into the art. Did they paint land by toponyms, by colors? And yes, we see hundreds of inscriptions where the Egypto-Sudanic people are farming, and they are farming black cultivated soil. They have painted dark brown to black color in their inscriptions, digging as they are fertilizing the soil. We see in inscriptions where the mountain regions is colored red and pink, and that's give or take why they use the color red for the desolate or the burn region. Okay, so we use all four of what he says that people do not use. So this is research is important because I want people to learn to, just because a researcher sounds, good, it might look good, it might look complex, but sometimes we can simplify things and make it just that much more clearer and better. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, well, we observed the adjective modifier, Kemet, black true Egyptian material evidence, sent to us by Dr. Obadeli Campbell of Ghana University, to show that adjective noun Kemet, black land, with determinative, has a variant adjective modifier form as Amet Kemet, black land, black mud. Egyptian art in context shows the contrast of black and red soil in contextual evidence, meaning that I can prove this not with just linguistics, not with just the grammar, but also the Egyptian art. So it's kind of hard to debate this because we have physical evidence, Methods. Of course, on the right side, we see Kim. Biliteral Kim, phonetic complement, the owl, M, the T for feminine, and we see a irrigated land determinative. This glyph or word term is actually in Old Egyptian. It wasn't just started in 11th to 12th dynasty and still of Mentuhotep in that inscription. In that inscription, the term became more complex as years go. So these terms are coming out of other terms as years go. When we study linguistics, we know that time and space changes everything. Terms are going to become coinage terms. The same thing we do today. Okay, no different when it comes to languages and applied linguistics, speaking and things of that nature. So we have Kemet can be seen in a non-literary text or literary text. So let's just give a brief demonstration of the method. We demonstrate with Egyptian grammar by giving examples of adjective nouns and adjective modifiers to indicate that Egypto-Sudanic Nile Valley Africans applied color toponyms to distinguish soil qualities. In Egyptian grammar, adjectives can be nouns in which the determinative specifies what the item that's being modified is. We compare with other color adjectives too. I demonstrate with Egyptian grammar that determinative in adjective is not always clarified or literal in both adjective nouns and adjective modifiers. Determinatives can also be abstract or metaphorical and do not indicate color. I explain the types of determinatives used in various adjective functions. We demonstrate using Egyptian inscriptions, Egyptian grammar, text, and Egyptian art. All sources cited. In Egyptian art, the Egyptians painted cultivated soil and irrigated soil in mud, the color black, directly consistent and corresponding with Egyptian grammar and text. We use genetically related languages of Dogon, Dongolawi, Demotic, and Coptic to flexes and related languages to confirm, not change the meaning. Only to confirm. That's only way we can do it. Even if you do a reconstruction of the term, it's only a reconstruction. It's hypothetical. I don't have to accept an unattested reconstruction. We do not try to delete the ancient Egyptian meaning of black land because languages change through time and space, and some of the daughter language of Egyptian may have changed semantically over time, but kept its semantic relation. Okay, these are the methods that we're using. I know y'all get tired of me talking, so let's get to it. Example, adjective modifiers in Egyptian confirmed that Egypto-Sudanic people called the land near the Nile River banks black irrigated land, soil irrigated by water that produces black fertile earth. The adjective in this demonstration is nefert, beautiful. So I use an example of what I'm trying to tell y'all. In which case the adjective matches in gender, but deletes the plural markers. The adjective nefert follows the noun and omitted the determinative. Omitted it. It deleted it. So this is an example of an adjective which can be found on page 90 of Let the Ancestor Speak, Ankh Ra. Gardner states that the omission of plural is perfectly normal and the omitting of the determinative. So sometimes adjectives don't even have a determinative. So that is a part of grammar in which a lot of didn't bring up. So you don't have to, of course, you need a determinative, but in some cases, these nouns are without determinatives, even though you can have variations in other texts. But like he stated, the omitting of the determinative is just part of the functions of Egyptian. And Egyptian grammar, Sir Alan Gardner, section 74, plurality omitted. Okay, so this is sa'ut or sat neferut. That's how you pronounce it. Beautiful woman, nefert. In this case, y'all see my arrow here. Nefert is the adjective. Y'all see in this adjective that the plurality is in, but in this formula is it deletes the number, the plurality, and the doesn't have and determinative. This also is function in color adjectives. The same type of function. This function is universal. It's not just to adjectives that describe a quality. It's for color adjectives as well. So I give a slew of examples, okay? Adjective modifiers in Egyptian confirm that the Egypto-Sudanic people called the land near the Nile River banks, again, black irrigated soil. And I just put the same thing for the first slide, but let's go with these. Now, the first example here, you see on the right, adjectives, you got nefert, my arrow, nefert. This is red, desudet, and this is black, kemetu. All right. So we have beautiful, nefert, or neferutu, nefertu, beautiful. We have desudetu, black, red, and we have kimtu, black. We go over here, we see the formulas. we see Sat Nefrut. This is an adjective modifier omitting the plural with no determinative. On your right, this is how it looks. The adjective modifier, beautiful woman. On the left, this is how it operates. The adjective attaches and follows the noun. Now, on this adjective modifier, same gender and number, the adjective has no determinative, but it's still indicating color. See, that's the issue. Remember in Gardner that he have a section of the Egyptian grammar that about adjective and its types and functions, that sometimes the adjective, even when it's dealing with color, just like the Nefert, does not have a determinative to it. So how would you know it's a color other than the functions of it? We know that this is an adjective dealing with color because it's the meaning of it. Now we have Iatu Deshiratu, adjective modifier, same gender and number. The adjective has no determinative. So how do we know it's dealing with color? Okay, we know it's dealing with color because of the context of which is written. So if you don't have determinatives to know that it's dealing with color, we know that it's certain context to what we can know to see that it's dealing with color. Now, in the Kamo Stele II, we know that the red mounds became barren because of a destruction that happened to farmland. That was the context of this. Some warriors went to some dude, structures, and he had, I guess, fertile lands and crops and all that, and they went and burnt that shit and turned it barren. So the red became a color of burn. It can be polysemous. So if y'all look up polysemous, these are terms that can have more than one related meaning. Okay, that's like in Baltimore, we use colors the same way the Egypto-Sudanic people use colors. For example, synchronic linguistic example. If you see somebody that's kind of new to the area, don't know the environment, what color do y'all describe to that person? Green. Y'all say, look, that brother is green as hell. We're not saying that he is literally the color green. We're saying that normally green has a metaphorical definition of freshness, of newness, okay? Minty, new, fresh, something new, the color green, right? Recycle, new birth, rebirth, all through our history. So we ascribe the color green to people that's, kind of new to the environment, things of that nature. Now, Yakimtu, adjective modifier, same gender and number, but again, no determinative to determine whether this is indicating a color. But we know it is because Pyramid of Pepi, Pyramid Text 534, we know that adjectives, modifiers, or adjective follows the noun in a match in gender and number. Okay, so we find in this text to be Black Mountains, Pyramid Text of Pepi, source Let the Ancestors Speak, all the sources are at the bottom. Egyptian Grammar, Sir Allen, section 74, plurality omitted. Redburn Hills, Stele of Kamos, Kamos second, Luxor Museum. This translation of Redburn Hills, I also have the translation of Redburn Hills because the noun that's in back has a bird glyph for it. The bird glyph can interchange with the flamingo glyph as a determinative as well for emptiness or barrenness. So all of this stuff is semantically and metaphorically related to each other when it comes to these ideograms. So it's not the determinative to adjective function that we should be paying attention to. Then pay attention to the determinative if it has one, Text, context, So I gave examples of adjective modifiers with no determinatives, but still indicating color. So that argument is non and void that you must pay attention to determinative to tell you the color. Determinatives only tell you what's, depending on the artists or however in context. So it's not just a determinative as I showed. Now, this is a Egyptian transcription from the Ebers Papyrus. The Ebers Papyrus is a hieratic text. From that hieratic text, you can transcribe the hieratic into regular hieroglyphics to get a better translation for scholars that don't know hieratic, or which is the same, but is written into a cursive type of meta-netjer. So this is just writing a cursive document into a print document to make it more understandable. Now, Egyptian inscriptions show grammar of adjective modifiers, which show Amatu Kemtu, black mud, soil. The brother stated that black mud and soil cannot be a meaning of Egyptian, but in Egyptian context, they actually put the color determinative, like the brother stated, in back of a noun called amat, meaning ground or soil or mud. This is what they call a toponym. Colors used to describe qualities of the soil. So yes, as we see in this adjective modifier form, that the Egyptians did, and it's not a white man's point of view, actually describe soil quality. We have evidence at the Ebers Papyrus here. Adjective modifier with special determinative that omitted the plural, in which indicates the color of the ground. Or this type of adjective function here is an adjective that has a special determinative. So anytime you see an adjective with the hieroglyph, to be accurately as possible with grammar rules, you're looking at what we call an special determinative. But remember, determinatives can have different meanings in different levels of classification. So be careful. Not all times the hieroglyph represents color in words. It doesn't. Sometimes the hieroglyph can represent grass on the ground. It can represent skin on your body, which of course, grows hair, but still, it represents something totally related, but kind of different in a way. So the translation here is starting from the red. I give two translations. I give the translation from Obadeli Campbell, PhD, Ghana University. I give two translations on the other text. But this translation say, beginning of the remedies for burns, what is done the first day? Black mud, clay, give it. Now, my translation of it is, Ha'im perkatu natu bedet ertu sara tepi amatu kemetu dar. Beginning of remedies for burns to prepare upon the first day, give it black soil, mud. We both came with similar translations. We both know looked at the adjective modifier form, in which we have a chem indicating color on back of the determinative here in the noun is indicating irrigated soil, mud, ground, clay. Clayish, brownish, black as clay that's near a body of water because of the determinative. So I guess in the Ebers Papyrus, we have Egypto-Sudanic using that ground as medicine, using the soil. If they get burnt by smelting or something of that nature, or bad burn, they would probably go to the banks of the river and use the black soil and rub it on their body, or to ease the pain of burns. So we have black mud literally as a adjective modifier, or black soil. Okay, here we go. We know the term amat, a feminine noun having the meaning of mud, muddy ground, mud flat. The determinative of the irrigated canal N23, according to Sir Alan Gardner, states that by the 18th dynasty, it was replaced by the N21 tongue of land glyph. So the irrigated glyph of symbol was a variation of the tongue glyph, which is for land. The determinative of the irrigated canal determinative can be seen in words with meanings of land, ground, riverbank, island, boundary, season, water, or time. Gardner. You see the different related definitions. Okay, all of these things are related because water is what makes the ground black or muddy or soily. Seasons also as well, because during the inundation season, the soil gets wetter, which causes the color. So in time has something to do with seasons. So all of these determinatives, when they are used, can be used in different contextual relation, depending on the context of which one translates. In the Ebers Papyrus, medical instructions to apply black mud soil to burn wounds has also had medical healing properties. So I had black mud land or black mud soil, black mud clay, whatever, still part of the ground. On the right, Ebers Papyrus hieroglyphic transcription, give it black mud soil. We have red burn mounds. Now the first one, I forgot to add the determinatives of the small bird. Now, as you see the bird here, red burn mounds, this bird actually interchanges with the flamingo glyph. And it actually is still more metaphorically related to the flamingo, even though it's different, because the red signifies burn. When the Egyptians used the color red, it's for destruction of land, it's for burn areas, it's for areas that contain precious metal and gold, because we know that gold and metal and things of that nature were in the mountain regions. That's why they were so hard on saying, oh, I am the leader of the black lands regions and the red land regions, because those red land regions contain the mountain areas. Those mountain areas contain precious metals. We have context to prove that later on. Now here, in the second one, I have it in red, Kamo Steely II. And we have the context. The translations came from TLA database. And it says, set fire to their sites, places, and they become red, burn, ruins, hills, forever. We know that according to Vidas Dictionary and Budge's Dictionary, the term Deseratu with the bird glyph can mean red, or have a definition to be red, red. It also can mean, for the determinative, is G37 is used for words as bad, defective, empty. The mounds became defective and empty and burned once they burned it. So that's why they describe the soil quality in this adjective modifier as red, and then semantically put the ideogram of a bird to indicate that it's red, but it's a different type of red. It's the destructive, empty, burn type of red. No vegetation of life, and it's red and fucked up and ruined. All right. So we know that the term iatu, a feminine noun, to mean hill, earth mound. Again, applying colors to land. In Egypto-Sudanic Nubian context, this term is used for hilly earth, hills. The determinative according is the N30 glyph. Gardner states this to be a mound of earth shrubs for a matrix. We can see that this term and its functional determinative relates to terrain or earth mass. The adjective deseratu with bird glyph indicating destruction interchanges with the flamingo determinative for red. Wickedness and burn, non-fertile, meaning red, to be red in Vigas and budge. The character of the color is indicated of the burned soil of dry earth that's dry and reddish. The determinative used for the adjective G37 is used for words as bad, defective, and empty. Okay, so we find a bunch of semantically related ideograms, man. The determinatives is more advanced as what people may seem. It's not just a literal determinative. That's not the only determinative, people. It's different types of classifier. We call it determinative classifier. So as you see in the Ebers Papyrus hieroglyphic transcription, you see an adjective modifier of black being put as a toponym to mud ground or the soil, indicating black land. And this is Deshadetu, which is red, indicating red burn mounds. Now, this is only the adjective modifier form. We have another adjective form called the adjective noun. We're going to get through that easily on, I think, on the next slide. Okay. In Egyptian grammar, I want y'all to pull out your notebooks on this, because this is basic information. Okay, if adjectives can be nouns in Egyptian grammar, okay, of course they're gonna have functions of nouns. Real simple. I don't have to do a, an 80-page article on that to know that. You get what I'm saying? It says Egyptian grammar, all adjectives except for one can be nouns. All right. In Egyptian grammar, adjective can be nouns describing persons, places, or things. That's simple. You see how people just miss over the basic grammar rules? You got to apply the grammar rule. In James P. Allen, Introduction to Middle Egyptian, adjective noun 6.4 page 62 and 63 states that the determinative is sometimes added. That's why I say the determinative, we can use the determinative, yes, but not all the time, because sometimes it's just not added to a term. These are just grammar of Egyptian. States that the determinative is sometimes added, as seen in adjective modifiers. Pyramid text 502p, Enem Kim has no determinative to it. Most adjective nouns has an adjective modifier counterpart. And that's my sense, is that when we are looking at Egyptian, we see the adjective modifier, which is on your left, the arrow point here, and you have an adjective noun too. But also when you look at red burn line, that adjective modifier form, or hill, red burn hill, you have red burn land as an adjective noun. Why? Because we go back, adjectives can be nouns. I mean, it's like real simple. Now, James P. Allen stated this: most Egyptian adjectives can also be used by themselves as nouns. The only exception is the primary adjective neb, which can be only used as a modifier, never as a noun by itself. In fact, all Egyptian adjectives except neb are nouns. Sometimes the scribe will add an determinative to indicate what more specifically kind of person, thing is meant. All right? I want y'all to know that. This can be black irrigated soil, or like Asar Imhotep stated, livable land. I mean, like common grammar rules of Egyptian. Common grammar rules. Easily explained, easily understood. That what? Colors, adjectives, can function as what? Nouns. Nouns can what? Function. Adjective nouns function as other nouns. And sometimes have a determinative, and sometimes it doesn't. Like easy word. Now, the bottom paragraph is Kemet with N23 glyph was seen in the older text to describe the soil quality in contrast with the red soil quality, in which is also seen in genetic languages of Coptic and other related African languages. Now, what I'm stating here is that the adjective noun, I sourced that in Black Land, Red Land. If y'all want to see the contrast of what I'm talking about, the inscription is called the Stele of Mentuhotep. Cairo CG 20539 is this number in the TLA database. Okay, so in the Stele of Mentuhotep, you will find that being that adjective can function as nouns, they can also contrast with other nouns, meaning black land and red land, black and white, right and wrong, things of that nature. It can contrast with other nouns. So being that adjectives can be nouns, it can function as a noun. So if y'all want to look at that translation, Gortlet gives a good breakdown in translation. Gortlet also give a good breakdown of the term Kemet on how its earlier usage was more geared towards the soil type, like the black fertile regions. We know that the black regions in the inscriptions I'm going to show y'all were in capitals of nomes. You will have a nome with the deity in that nome or district, the capital of the nome, and then you will have a gigantic garden. It shows y'all the inscriptions and how their layout blueprint of their operations was on the Nile Valley. So they had capitals with thick black gardens by, the deity standing tall. So when they say the black regions, they mean those fertile regions, economics. They are trading food with other people. So agriculture, like in America, is one of the biggest economic things that one can devise for himself. Imagine if you had an agricultural religion, which was Asar, and you got an agricultural economic system. So you got a people that religiously believes in this economic system. You will be one of the richest people or the richest civilizations on the face of this planet, which why the Egypto-Sudanic people was. The Kemet glyph represented in Stele of Mentuhotep a plethora of regions, not just one region. It wasn't just the black land. It was black regions, black lands, black irrigated soils that was in different places and parts of the Nile Valley, as well as Desertet. It's not just one Desertet. The determinative was indicating of plural in the Stele of Mentuhotep. In the indication of plurality, we find that the mountain regions was 3 of them. So it's indicating that it's more than one Desertet. If you know about the geography of Kemet, you see that burn soil is all around that area. During the river seasons, which is quite different than back in the days, the soil get wetter and darker, okay? And all the other regions around. So why was they so hard? That's why they were so hard on, I am the leader of the black regions and the red regions, telling people that, these are my mountains. These are my red mountains that contain precious metals, and I'm going to fight for it. And these is my precious agricultural farming regions, and we're going to die and fight for it. So that's why black land and red land is so important in Kemetic text, because that's the source of that economics. All right. So we have Kemet in the older renditions to meaning a certain type of soil. And I agree with Asar Imhotep. Now, I don't disagree with the brother 100%. That's impossible. I don't think nobody can disagree with somebody 100%, unless he just, just off the chain fraudulent, but you're going to agree some type of way. So I agree with him that in a later geopolitical term for Kemet, and we see that change in the Stele of Mentuhotep because Gortlet explained the term. He stated that the Nut glyph started to be part of that word. And we all know that the Nut glyph can mean land as well, too. Not just a nation or village. That Nut glyph can mean land, and it's in words that mean soil and land as well. Matter of fact, the Nut glyph is only roadways inland. That's it. They wasn't throwing cement everywhere like we doing today. They were making roads by digging out and irrigating the land and making pathways through Earth's mountain ways and valleys. So that's still dealing with the land, that newt glyph. Let's not forget that. Okay. Linguistic confirmation of the term Black Land and related African languages by Sabati Netjer Neb. This was easy because that's all you got to do is take 5 or 6 genetic related languages. Being that I'm pressed for time, I'll use 3, which is Yoruba, Dogon, and Dongolawi, and Coptic. I mean 4. Okay. Easily, Yoruba is genetic related to Egyptian. Let's check. In the source at the bottom, ancient Egyptian and modern Yoruba, write that down. Phonetic regularity, Theophile Ubenga. He actually showed and proved with the comparative linguistic method, that Yoruba is genetically related to Egyptian. Okay, so I give y'all an example. This is one of his examples of the Vela K, which is in the red. A K, Vela, K, all correspond in phonetic identity, correspondent. And when I mean by initial K, initial mean the first phone or the first sound. All right. In a second, this is another type of correspondence. This is not a phonetic identity, meaning it's identical, but we see the change of K and G. And you might say, why does it have the G at the bottom? Because we call that in linguistics metatheses. When phones rearrange themselves, when we talk, some people talk faster than others, and phones may come out differently. So this phenomenon in linguistics or sporadic sound change called metatheses. But we know here that the T, you see a T in ancient Egyptian, you'll see a D in Dogon. Okay, I have other sources that can show y'all this. Matter of fact, if anybody demand me to pull it up, I will. I have missiles ready. Now it says K and G. Every time you see a K in Egyptian, you are Dogon, Tomos and Dogon small. Ancient Egyptian, Kiket, darkness, Dogon, Tummel, Diggy, night. Now look at Theophile Bangers. He has darkness and Yoruba cloud. Okay. What I'm saying is this: Yoruba is later on a related language that derived from ancient Egyptian. All right. So that's what I mean by sometimes the meanings. We know that when it's dark outside and light outside, you see clouds. But one thing we know is that semantically we are referring to nighttime, the sky, some type of atmospheric type of event. So cloud can have a semantic relation with darkness. So Theophile Binga has an L for K. I didn't normally L and K possibly can correspond. I never seen it. Or I might have to, look up some more, but I didn't see proof of K and L in his work. But knowing Dr. Obenga, he has it, just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Now, in mine, accurate, you find Kiket, darkness, and Dogon, Tomo, Diggy, night. And one will say, well, Netjer Neb, okay, it's 2 Ks and 1 G. Well, let's do a synchronic example of through time, sporadic change can happen. Refrigerator. Let's use the word refrigerator in English. Most people say refrigerator, even though we're speaking of the same word. So sometimes sporadic change can happen and the prefix of re is dropped. So now we use it refrigerator instead of saying the whole thing refrigerator. And sometimes we drop the suffix and just call it the fridge. Get me? So this is synchronic sound change, and this sound change can happen in any language in the world or planet. So we see here that it dropped in Dogon one of the K's, but kept the corresponding G in Dogon in a metathesis form for night. We see an ancient Egyptian again, Ka, think about. In Dogon, Tamu, Ge, Say. All right. Now, this is interesting because the ancient Egyptian word for Ka, the determinative, is a man holding fingers to his mouth, which can indicate to say, to think, to read, and has a variety of meanings in Egyptian. So say and think about are all semantically related in the Egypto-Sudanic languages. So we have ancient Egyptian Yoruba with Theophile Menga, Ka, think about, and he has Ka, to read. Ancient Egyptian Ka, think about, Dogon, Tami, Ge, Say. We know that say in Ka in ancient Egyptian can have a meaning of think about, say, all of that is semantically related to them. Ancient Egyptian, Kit, small. Dogalawi, Kin, small. Now you see how that sounded similar. Look at this. Kit, Kin. See? You can't really see the difference, alternate, or it can be in correspondences. With Dongalawi, we have T and N and a lot of correspondences and sound laws in our work, me and Dr. Nazir Sati work. So we're going to put all that work in a published journal for the Nubian Journal, I think in Paris, this year. But we have ancient Egyptian Keku, darkness, for Dongalawi, Uku, darkness, phonetic identity, even phonetic identity for the first Dongalawi, and phonetic identity for the last Dongalawi. Y'all see what would be that definition. If we were to induce and know that these are cognates, we can predict this either to be to think about or to say or some type on that line. So yes, to say. Ancient Egyptian, think about. So we know that these languages are genetic related. I show you 3 because it's valid. I can in linguistics. It's a debate, 3 or 5, but I use Dr. Obinga as a frame, less than 3. All right. So this is the initial K found in Dongalawi as phonetic identity, and initial K in Yoruba phonetic identity. But Dogon is not phonetic identity. It is a regular correspondence, meaning the K turns into a G. Now let's see. Let's test this out. Now, if K can turn to a G, don't y'all think scientifically, be honest, scientifically, if we're inducing linguistic correspondences here, don't you think we can predict some things because of the regularity, the mechanical nature of linguistics? Maybe we can say, okay, I'm going to go to Dogon languages, being that K and G corresponds anyway. Let me find out if the term black, because black has a K sound in Egyptian. So it might be Gim in Dogon. Let me see if that's true. Okay? Because if it's regular, every time you find a K in Egyptian, you will find a G in Dogon. Okay, y'all? Now, the Dogalawi, let's state this. If it's initial, even though sound change is not always regular, let's get that straight. It can be regular, but not all the time. It can have correspondences with other sounds. But I'm just being simple, general. All right? If Dogon has a G for Egyptian K, then Kim gotta sound like something like Gum or Gum or something like that with a G, because that will make it regular. Dogalawi has an initial K. So we can find out if Dongalawi retains the color term black land or the adjective modifier black land as an Egyptian. It's morphology. And in Dogon, we can see if it has the adjective noun black land or the adjective modifier. Let's test it out. I want y'all to say, make bets. Let's play some money. Let's put some money up. Let's see this. All right. Let's make some bets. Who got some bets? What you think is going to be? You think we can find these terms in these related languages? I don't use Yoruba. I just show Yoruba as the type of regularity we are functioning off of. We function off of a high level linguistic know-how. All right. Let's check it.
Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Jeez.
In Dongalawi, we have recovered or deduced a number of sound laws, correspondences. R equals D, N equals R, M equals P, B, M, K equals K, T equals D, the sh equals sound. Morphology in Dongalawi of plural markers being identical with Egyptian, identical pronouns, identical body parts, identical artifacts, identical cultural continuity. All right? The adjective noun Kemet can be observed in Dongalawi. It can, confirming meaning in Egyptian and Coptic languages of black mud, soil, black land. Egyptian K equals Dongalawi K, and Egyptian M equals Dongalawi M or B. Different sounds, variations, and alterations exist in Dongalawi of M and B. They are natural alternates, meaning it can be a B or M. Everybody knows this. Thus, you can have the form mak, which is a metathesis, meaning black, fertile extension of land. I mean, people, this is the definition of this term using linguistics. Black, fertile extension of land. But the brother said we don't use linguistics to confirm the meaning. Did I just confirm it or not? Did I use genetic related languages to confirm?
Yes, sir.
The meaning? And this is just one. It didn't even get hot in here yet, because this is on the adjective noun form. It's two type of forms. You got the adjective modifier and the adjective noun. So thus you can have the form mak in metathesis, meaning black, fertile extension of land, and the variation is kamya, black, fertile extension of land, y'all. Adjective noun, ancient Egyptian, Kemet, black, fertile soil, and it impacts the first. Dongalawi, Mwak, black, fertile extension of land. Dr. Nazir Sati, PhD, indigenous Dongalawi speaker. Coptic, Kami, black land. These are genetic related languages. The adjective noun is seen. I mean, like, all right, the second one, we know that color terms are a main factor of two genetically related languages. All right. Reason why I say that is this. You know, when you're dealing with two languages that are genetically related, because it's the hypothesis by linguists that they will share the same color terminologies. It will all correspond with each other in full, not half. Of course, we know borrowings, but in this case, we ain't dealing with borrowings, because Dogon, we show K equals G, and Dongalawi shows K equals K. Now, we know that color terms are a main factor of two genetically related languages. In Dogon, like Dongalawi, we find the full spectrum of color, Kim, black, and other retained cognates between Dogon and Egyptian. The Dogon language confirms the adjective modifier meaning of Amat Kim, black mud soil. All right. Not only did I pull the adjective noun from Dongalawi, but I pulled the other form, the adjective noun modifier too, in corresponding in morphology. Ancient Egyptian Amat Kim, Kemet. Black Mudland, Ebers Papyrus, Dr. O'Belly Camel, PhD. Dogon, Tamaso, Unjum Yim, Black Earth for farming or loam. This is the literal definition on a website called Dogon and Bangimi Linguistics Lexical Spreadsheets. I want everybody to look at it. All right? Let's go there. Dogon and Bangimi Linguistics Lexical Spreadsheet, and you have a lot of Dogon scholars going over in the Dogon land region, pulling up information about its language syntax. They trying to find out how would you classify this. They having trouble classifying it because to me it's an Egypto-Sudanic language. And they trying to put it as a Niger Congo. I just disagree. They put everything Niger Congo, Niger Congo. But you have adjective noun modifiers clear as day in Dogon Tomo song, where the gim follows the noun, which is unjum, and call it black earth. They have the same exact concept. The same exact adjective noun is in Dogon. Ancient Egyptian, kim for black, Dogon Tomaso, gim for black, Coptic, kimi for black. In ancient Egyptian. Now, this is interesting. We find gemination, the doubling of the phone in the middle of this term, Kemet, become black. So I guess it's the way they say it that makes it different. If we're going to, you know, hypothetically say a pronunciation, even if the Egyptians pronounced it, we can see that the extra phone of M there, now we can see they pronouncing things differently to create an a more serious definition of something. That's what I see when I see this evidence. I see ancient Egyptian Kemet become black, and in Dogon Tomoso we have Gemindi become black, or Gemindi become black. We have the M corresponding with the M in Dogon. We have the M in N in Dogon. Both are compared, but people may say, what about the D, Netjer Neb? I got you. I got him. I got Netjer Neb. Nope, you don't. Because through sound, I mean, through time and space, languages change, and certain words like epinetheses become added in the middle of terms or at the end or beginning. Terms can get added or deleted as time goes on. For example, this is kind of similar to gemination, a synchronic hood example. We might call somebody in the hood, what's up? What's up, Ty? How you doing, Ty? But as time go on, we get comfortable. We might say ta-ta, duplicate it, and add to another word. So this is also found in African languages. We have in Coptic corresponding exact, kimam, using two M's as in the other ones. So we know these are cognates, not borrowings. They cognates. Because the initial K and G correspond. The initial K and G become black. The verb correspond in Coptic. And then we have the extra one, ancient Egyptian Kim to N, and we have Dogon Tamaso Gimya cut of N. All right. So I have showed y'all 1, 2, 3 dealing with Dogon. 6 over 5 K equals G, which is valid in linguistics. So we confirmed that in other African languages that the term black land exists. We confirmed in adjective noun modifier that the adjective can modify amat, which means black mud land in the Ebers papyrus. We also confirmed it in Dogon, Coptic, and Dagalawi. All cognates, no borrowing, no pseudo work, strictly science. Now, this is what we call.
Oh man, this is what I've been waiting for right here. She said we're reaching literally went over the hour mark, and I was just waiting for this section to come up. It seems like it's really about to get heated up right about now. Family, if you're enjoying the show so far, please hit the like button. I can see a lot of you lot have hit the like button compared to the view versus likes ratio. Thank you for supporting Titans TV and supporting you know, our Kemetic scholars over here and abroad in America as well. That's just really dropping that heat right about now. Armin Ross squad up and that, you know what I'm talking about. Also, Team Osiris is on the horizon. Hey, yo, family, do me another favor as well. If you've got any questions to ask my brother, just quickly tag Titans TV, okay? Tag Titans TV and add your question or comments in there as well. Oh man. I see my sister in Kaba and Empty Unct is in the building. You know, people are tuned in. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Continue, my brother.
Peace. It says, this is physical context. All right. Art. I figured that so many people want to be linguists that it's a shame. And it's sad that like Asar Imhotep, myself, Kalam, other brothers who understand the grammar, the linguistics, that you have so much pseudoscience that the brother Asar might have had to make something. You know, brothers probably was going too far with it. So I understand where the brother's coming from, but I just disagree that this is a white man's making. You know, I don't give them that much credit. You know, only thing I give them credit in is warfare. You know, we study the history of war. You know, we know they out the chain with it. And I know we were serious as well, and we are still the best warriors on the earth. But y'all know when y'all look in that type of history, they make contraptions to rip you apart in public. We never, I mean, we might have done some things, burn your ass up or something, but I don't recall us making mechanical devices, ripping the breasts off women. And I mean, they are off the chain with violence. So being they are from that environment, like in the scriptures of Asar Imhotep stated, their nature is of a crocodile. So I take that seriously, you know, from my ancestors. I take that, but they see seriously. But here, you know, this is what I call facts. If the linguistics match, correspond, confirm, cognates, if the context and grammar match, and if the art archaeology match, then this is just what it is. You will not be able to get over this. You can't. It's impossible. Now, you have the first square in the papyrus of Nekat, right? And you see these color dimensions on the left in circle, and you see in Netjer Neb, right? So we see, I would translate, we say murder net mu. Okay, for the first one. We know that to mean inundation of the water, and specifically they put a black ring around that. Right? So that's kind of, you know, strange.
Could you zoom it? Could you zoom it in quickly? King, could you just zoom it in so we can have a good look? Excellent.
Now, we see in the middle, Sadat. I think it's murder net Sadat. And it means something dealing with waters of fire or things of that nature. And then you have Wapet net mu. You know, I'm just giving off the top translations of this. Okay. Upet, however, in the middle is describing, actually, I found out that it's describing the Nile River. That's why in this scene, you have irrigated rivers going through the whole thing, and you have farming. And this is really an afterlife, a perfection of the afterlife scene in which they are gardening and things of that nature. This was their heaven to gardening, herbs, making food and things of that nature. The color codes is the color codes of the river, because if you look at the Nile River, in certain seasons the water become colored. It becomes black, inundated waters due to the low ground earth, the mud being in the water. Then in certain portions of the Nile, you might have a fiery looking color because of the reddish clayish that's on the side of mountains and the water rubbing against it, turn that. So I found out this represents some form of the Nile River, but that beats the point there. Let's go here with the black arrow, and you clearly see, man. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist. It don't take an Egyptian translator. It don't take nobody that's under 8 years old to discern. If you ask them, what is this guy doing here with this cow? And he had a hoe, and he's whipping the cow, and you see the soil indicated by the Egyptians themselves. black soil. They are cultivating black soil near water or the edges of water. Look at this scene carefully. People overlook when it comes to the Egyptians, Egypto-Sudanic people, you got to pay attention to the smallest detail. All right? So we know that black crumbly earth is seen in the papyrus of Netjer, and this man is cultivating black earth. I ain't color it. This ain't no trick. This is from the archaic Egypto-Sudanic people themselves. Anybody have questions on that, or if they think their eyes is deceiving them, ask someone else who's looking at it that got better vision and ask them, is this black land or is this real? You know, yes, this is real. They are cultivating black soil. This is a tomb in Thebes showing a plow preparing land for sowing. Here we see in the tomb inscription, okay, of the dark soil that's being cultivated, plow, seeded, and tilled. This depiction is consistent with other ancient Egyptian agricultural scenes. Though the ground is greatly faded, it still is dark black. So this is in the tomb in Thebes and in the tomb inscription of Netjer. Okay, he got a tomb as well in Thebes, official tomb in Thebes. Now, you see here, you know, I got it where as though it's dark. We can discern whether this was a mistake or not, but it's not a mistake. They purposely the man is dropping seeds and they are irrigating, making fertile black soil. The guys over top is hitting black fertile soil with strips of soil with a hoe to irrigate it. You go in the bottom, I'm gonna blow this up. The bottom, you make it bright, all right, and it's still dark. So this is an indication of farming, strips of black earth, them making earth fertile, and they are, you know, black soil. They're indicating that they are farming on black fertile soil. Black fertile soil in Kemet, a lot of the capitals had large black fertile gardens, you know, so the black fertile regions can be known as the Nile Valley, as in the city of Imhotep signifies. But y'all see black or dark soil. I'm not saying always Kim means directly black. I'm meaning dark soil. You know, we're not saying that the mud is literally, black. Y'all know what I'm saying. We are saying that it is, you know, fertile, it's dark, it's blackened, you know, for cultivation. Here is a reconstructed mural from the North Palace of Akhenaten at Tel Amarna. All right, reconstructed mural, North Palace of Akhenaten. It's the Metropolitan Museum of Arts collection stated this: the scene depicts birds in a papyrus swamp. Here, a kingfisher dives for prey. Floating in water are lotus blossoms and flowering plants dot the black mud edges. So when we see this black edge in the middle water, in a black edge, this is Kemet. People were looking at Kemet and didn't even know it. Okay? We find plants growing on the edges, the water. Of course, that's the Nile, or some type of water irrigating canal from the Nile that's making fertile soil along the edges of wherever they are irrigating Kemet, black soil at. This is in the tomb of Neb Amen. We see a mural of a cultivated area with trees and plant life. The black edges from it and is near a body of water with aquatic life and fruits. The Commissions purposely painted the edges black again, showing again its black fertile soil quality in this garden scene The website Tour Egypt stated this: nevertheless, at the capital that Akhenaten built in the desert, and despite the destruction wrought by the Amun, that trace is left of gardens to provide material for study. Trees were planted in pits filled with black earth, and these are particularly recognizable in the, I mean, the art speaks for itself, and this is faded, and we can still see that this, if this was fresh painting or art, this would be so magnificent, because we see the literally black soil while this sister here is fertilizing. Remind me of Queen Kaba fertilizing her, you know, her soil, and she got black soil all over. You know, this is Kemet right here. These are the black regions that these kings were speaking about. Now, this is going to blow your mind, because now the argument is over completely. We have physical evidence that the Kemet used colors as ironyms. An ironym is colors for mountains, all right? Mountain areas or hills, deep hills or mountain areas, not Iatu, you know, small mounds. These are mountains. So they applied the red, Deseret, in the black region of this map. You know, they did that. Red and black, still seen, strong. Interesting geological color terminologies in the Papyrus of Turin, ancient Egyptian map. The uses of pink, red, and black I find consistent in other Egyptian art and supportive for red and black color contrast in Egyptian texts. The geologist Dr. Hurl stated that the black and pink red colors was actual colors of hills and mountains in an area. He stated the colors correspond with the actual appearance of the rocks making up the mountains. Sedimentary to rocks in one region, which range in color from purplish to dark gray and dark green, are mapped in black. That's why I say that black could be any darkened, fertile like color. Okay, so on this map, the black region encompasses dark purplish, gray, dark green, and it means fertility or type of rock or mountain, that color of rock. On map fragments A and H within the main valley represented by multicolored dots, there are 3 small drawings of trees which from their form can be identified as tamarisk, which is drawn upside down. It's just opposite the Becken stone carving. The green oval at the base of the brownish black hill and at the center of the sharp bend in the valley. So we have this along the lines of this road here. But we find ironyms topony, which the Egyptians applied color to land geography, is facts. We find it in direct evidence as we see here. The red color on the map. So the geologist here, doctor, he is a professor, PhD, in geology. You know, this ain't coming from Netjer Neb's point of view. This is a geologist's point of view, a person who specializes in land and things of that nature, colors of land. He stated the significance of the area painted red is explained by another legend that reads, the mountains where gold is washed, they are colored in red. Y'all get that? That's why Deseret can mean red land or red mountain region. The regions of Deseret are synonymous with this map. As you see, the red mountain areas here symbolizes their quarry, stone quarry, where they got silver and gold from. That's why they were hard on owning the red and black land. They went to war for the red, and that's all in all the inscriptions you find, red and black land. Red. Why are they so hard on that? Because this is the main means of their economy. This is how they used to fight for these mountain regions, period. These mountain regions were very rich in gold and silver and precious stones. As the geologist translated, the mountains where gold is washed, they are colored in red. This is context. The Egyptian term used here for red is desher. It's that most generally employed for all shades of red. The color used to depict red granite, sandstone, and the tawny hue of the desert. The term mountains of gold is repeated elsewhere in the area colored red, as well as apparently the phrase mountains of silver and gold. In some places, the red area is brought to a point and given a distinctive name such as the peak or the peak on which Amun is. So y'all get me now. All right? Easy work. Okay? Now, the backdrop of the tomb planet, hold up, that's another one, but the red line. Okay, this is called the House of Treasure per Dasher, or Dasher per, but however, depending. According to Harold and Brown, geologists, the translation of the text concerning the pink color is as follows. The shrine of Amun of the Per Mountain, the mountains in which gold is worked, they are colored pink. They telling you why they are using these adjective nouns for place names. Okay? Mountains of gold and silver, or perhaps mountains of electrum, where electrum is a natural mixer of gold and silver. The hill of Amun, the mountains in which gold is worked, they are colored pink. So, of course, the mountains of precious materials, they called that Desra. And it didn't represent only burn land, even in contrast. It can represent burn because where we get the precious stones at, it is burned in unfertile territory. It may be unfertile and burned, but when you dig into a sedimentary rocks and you dig a hole and create tunnels, we find that it's precious materials inside this burned region. Okay, so they are telling you why the mountains are colored pink in this translation, and the source is at the bottom. Okay, this is contrast. Tomb of Peshido, all right? We find a red area here. The red area, which is a mountain area, on your left. And on your right, we find the Nile. We know that this is the Nile because we see Hapi popping his head out, or his body. And we see the strips of black earth along that in comparison with the red. So in art, we find the contrast of fertile regions with the mountainous gold and treasure mountainous regions, okay? In the tomb of Peshido, contrast here. We find red again in the tomb of Amenemhat. And we find Amun, the cow. Well, I don't think that's Amun. I think that's Hat. One of the deities. Person may add correction, if you will. But
Hathor.
Yeah, Hathor. We see the red clearly, pink, pinkish area, as they gave this ironym to this mountain. We see in the tomb of Roy, again, a shrine in which looked like a white pyramid with a black stone at the top. That's what it looks like, unless, you know, it been, faded over the years. So I know this is white and this has a black stone. We know that black stones on top, capstones on top of pyramids is in Egyptian inscriptions. So we must conclude this because in contact, there is a black capstone to pyramids. Now, on the right, we find, even though you see, it's deteriorating, we see the color of red, all right, or pink along these mountain regions, all right? Tomb of Nefertiti. Again, we find that they are making actual shrines on the bottom of these mountains because these mountains, it contains precious gold material that they highly you know, was highly sacred to these people. You know, they used that stuff, sold it, traded it with other countries. This is the lifeblood. Imagine an African culture with a region of mountains and silver inside of it. You know how rich and powerful you'll be with agricultural black soil all through. So you're creating your own food too. So you're making your own productions of food with black soil. All right. And you have annexed and took over the mountain regions. These guys were no joke. And that's why they were so rich like that. This is historical evidence. I just added it. Okay. And this is from scholars who, like Plutarch, who existed and wrote about Kemet in that soil thousands of years before me or Asar or Kalam existed. So it's kind of funny how the historical evidence from these scholars who visited Kemet and retained information from the indigenous people there and how it matches up 100% to date. You know, we should not ignore historical evidence, especially from people who went over there and jotted down. All information, you know, is needed. It says from Plutarch. Oh, it says, let's see. Osiris, on the other hand, he talked about Isis and Osiris, Plutarch, okay, and European Greek philosopher, thousands of years before I was born. This is what he wrote. Osiris, on the other hand, according to their legendary tradition, was dark because water darkens everything, earth enclosed and clouds, when it comes into contact with them. In young people, the presence of moisture renders their hair black, while grayness, like a paleness, as it were, is induced by dryness in those who are passing their prime. Also, the springtime is vigorous, prolific, and agreeable. But the autumn, since it lacks moisture, is inimical to plants and unhelpful for living creatures. The bull kept at Heliopolis, which they call Minos, and which is sacred to Osiris, some hold it to be the sire of Apis, is black and has honor second only to Apis. Egypt, moreover, which has the blackest of soils, they call by the same name as the black portion of the eye, Chimia, and compare it to a heart, for it is warm and moist, and it is enclosed by the southern portions of the inhabited world and enjoys them like the heart in a man's left side. Now, this is actual. We know that Dr. Job used it, historical evidence too. He used it, Greek writers and travelers to Kemet, and we use it too. Now, as you see here, when he went to Kemet, he noticed that they call by the same name, the black portion is still something to do with black. Over time, things changes. So at that time, the philosophy might have changed slightly, but it's still connected because the blackness of your eye normally is dark, black. And he said they named it Chemia, and he stated that they have the blackness of soils. Now, what, as a researcher, how can we confirm this? We must use other historical researchers that went to the land other than Plutarch to combine the two views and get a conclusion from it. All right. So we go to our boy, Herodotus. All right. The Histories, book 2. This is in Greek, the top, in English translation at the bottom, source, Herodotus, with an English translation by D. Godley, Cambridge, Harvard. Now, the bottom states this. Besides, Egypt is like neither the neighboring land of Arabia nor Libya, not even like Syria, for Syrians inhabit the seaboard of Arabia. It is a land of black and crumbling earth, and if it were alluvial deposit carried down the river from Ethiopia, but we know that the soil of Libya is redder and somewhat sandy, in Arabia and Syria, lands of clay and stones. Now, this one I'm stating that this ancient code of toponyms even was known to the Greek scholars thousands of years before we even existed. So to say a term is not something without looking over the material evidence, which is the archaeology, the art, the linguistic evidence to make sure that what you're saying is accurate, and the grammar evidence of adjectives simply can be nouns and adjective modifiers found in Egyptian texts, then you can come with a basis. Do not make bases purely on linguistics. This is an example of what I'm telling people. When you make bases strictly on linguistics, you ignore other evidence that we need to confirm. So in this case, we reach a conclusion. 2, Kemet as an adjective noun for soil quality, and Kemet as a geopolitical term. So we have 2 different Kemets at 2 different periods of times that represented some things related, but as time went on, it became a term as a geopolitical term, and color began to be maybe lost in it as time went on, as it became known as a geopolitical term. But its earlier renditions in non-literary texts, of course, as we've seen clearly in everything that I have shown, represents black land. So 1, grammar. The term Kemet can be translated as black land on basis of all Egyptian adjectives can be nouns and function as nouns. Determinatives are included and sometimes not included in adjective nouns. Adjective nouns do not have to be written with a color determinative. 2, grammar. The term Kemet can mean black mud soil, as we observed in the Egyptian adjective modifier in the Ebers papyrus. The color Kim black follows the noun and modifies it. Color determinatives are optional, and sometimes adjectives do not have determinatives to indicate color. 3, linguistics. We use the linguistic method to confirm the adjective noun, black land, reflected in Dogon, Coptic, and Dongolawi. African living languages that's related to Egyptian confirms the meaning and do not attempt to change the original meaning. Archaeology. We show direct evidence of actual inscriptions in terms of the Egypto-Sudanic people using colors as toponyms and ironyms to distinguish soil quality, confirming that the concept of a black soil and red soil concept is indigenous to Nile Valley thinking. 5, historical. Historical information of scholars spoke on soil quality of Egypto-Sudanic. They recorded accurate descriptions corresponding with linguistic and archaeological data today. So that's Netjer Neb's conclusion and meaning of this term.
Jeez. All right. Oh man. Jeez. My brother went in. So hold on. I want to know though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know. In terms of what the glyph is, yeah, for I believe it's I6. What do you say that the glyph is in I6?
Right now, it can either be a tail. It can form at the earlier stages. It could have been of a tail due to religious. We know that the Egyptian religion was before even the unified states. The Egyptian religion can be observed all the way back when the Egyptians wasn't even, organized. So it could have been religiously motivated, in which terms I seen the crocodile tail represent darkness in artifacts. I have that artifact. 2, I have an artifact where the Kim glyph can mean a pile of charcoal, right? And it's an inscription in which I do artistic, calculations and things of that nature. So it can either be out of those 2. A crocodile foot, we don't accept that here. is either an alligator tail or an Palachako. I lean towards Palachako because we can confirm it in Coptic, Dungalawi, Dogon, Yoruba, and all of genetic related languages that I have. I have 16 genetic related languages that I confirmed that is a pile of charcoal with the artifact, but it's still hypothetical. You know, I'm just letting everybody know it's hypothetical, but it's my theoretical framework that I'm going with. So,
all right, that means me and you still have to have it out. That means me and you still have to have it out. You know, the information that you provided tonight is a blockbuster already. So, you know, I don't have anything to disagree with what you've stated so far. I think you've been right and exact 100%. And now, you know, I think we both, you know, discounted it ever being, you know, what was it? Some type of claw? Was it claw? He said,
yeah,
stated. Yeah, some type of claw. I think we both discounted that, and you definitely showed me evidence, provide evidence to me to state that it is, you know, it could potentially be charcoal, or part of charcoal, or charcoals clumped together. I put forward that it is, you know, the tail of a crocodile. So, you know, I think both of us have got very strong points on it, and I think I'm going to have to, you know, do some more research as well and provide some information, present some information to you. I want to see you critique that information, and then I'm also gonna, you know, look at your information. Look at your information, indeed, what you've got on the pot of charcoal as well, and see what we can come to. So tonight, this has been kind of crazy. This is like a brand new, you know, way of looking at things. You know, you've definitely showed, you know, chem definitely is related, you know, to the color itself. You know, we can see it definitely relating to the soil, and so forth, instead of it being as, you know, my brother Asar Imhotep, I believe he's a beautiful, wonderful scholar, but I do think he missed the mark with that at the beginning of it, when you show in his work on the determinatives. You know, but hopefully he will come onto the show, or he will come on and present some more information that will make us think, okay, possibly you got a point. But so far, I think, you know, Netjer Neb, your information that you've provided so far, oh man, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. This right here is going to literally be my study video for the next coming couple days, if not weeks. So, you know, I'm gonna have to congratulate you on the excellent work and research that you've been putting in.
Thank you, brother, for even having me on here. I always shout you out, and I support Titans TV. You know,
Jeez, my brother.
And that's just what it is. Contention Titans TV. I just love your show because you're knowledgeable about the information. You don't allow anybody on your forums, you know, talking fraudulent. You allow scholar linguistics a voice in which we don't have no voice, really. You know, a lot of people love the entertainers. They love the you know, the shine. There's not nothing wrong with it. I guess they making the culture nice, I guess, you know, but I like your show, the way it's structured, and you are educated in linguistics to even simplify something. So, man, nothing but respect, man.
Definitely. Also, I would like to just share with our audience your website and your foundation as well, your research foundation. So if you could just you know, let us know the name of it. I'm on it right now. www. Give us the remaining.
Yeah, Per Netjer Research Center.
Up.
PRNTR research.com. Apologize.
All right. Bear with me, family. Bear with me. There we go. Got it. Finally. I think we've got some questions about to come in. So we're going to try to get the next like few minutes worth. If you've got any questions, let me know. And this is it right here, the Per Netjer Research Center. All right. So please please go and support the brother. Look at the amazing doing. You know, actually, he came on last year. Last year, I beg you, tell them what happened last year. There were certain individuals were talking about the meta Netjer has not been deciphered. My brother Netjer Neb came in the building, and tore the place down and dropped some bombs. So Netjer Neb, if you can, just let them know what happened the last time you was on the channel.
Oh yeah, yeah. People are saying, and they still saying that the meta Netjer cannot be deciphered. Scholars like me, Asar, and Kalam, we have a lot of work to do when it comes to that, but we don't really, we are trying to advance the information, do some new things and research regarding our language syntax. But yeah, last year I had to show Dinka, Dogon, and phonetic regularity. Okay, if the meta Netjer is not deciphered, it will be impossible to have phonetic regularity. It just will not happen. It will be scientifically impossible. So anybody say, oh, meta Netjer has been not deciphered and things of that nature, that's all you got to do is say, well, why do words show up in other living African languages? Is that a coincidence? Is that if it says Kim in Egyptian, and if we can't translate that, then why does it show up in Dinka? Why does it show up, in these genetically related languages? So I genetically related show the genetic relationship of Dinka languages, the South Sudanic languages, with Egyptian. And right now I'm working with a professor in linguistics in the Sudan, and we are the first to actually genetically relate Nubian languages, the Dongalawi Nubian language with Egyptian, showing that the Egyptians and the Nubians are actually the same speakers scientifically. So watch out for that research as well. It's going to be published in the Nubian journal this year. So, but yeah, last time I came on the show, I had to demonstrate through the comparative linguistic method that if the meta Netjer cannot be deciphered, then why does it show in recurrent sound correspondences with genetically related languages such as Dinka, Dogon, Yoruba, Kalesian, and Coptic languages like that? So, yep.
Definitely. All right. Let me just quickly get this up as well. And family members, I know if you guys would like to support us here over at Titans TV, I've got my thing fixed. Finally, I've got it fixed. So if you want to support us, literally go on to our GoFundMe, which is literally let me see, where is it? It's right about here. Oopsie. Okay, there you go. Right about here. Okay, GoFundMe right here. Just click here, take you on over here, and you can literally fund. Go to the GoFundMe and donate over here. And of course, we've actually got the fundraising, that we're doing for us going over to America. We're actually going over to America.
Yeah.
To the Sarnetta TV Awards. Actually, I got my brother Terry on. Terry, would you like to just drop some information on that, please? No, you don't want to drop no information on that? All right, cool. So yeah, we've got a fundraiser going on. We're raising funds to go to New York, where I'm actually being nominated for a Best International Award. So this is hopefully a fund that will actually allow for the rest of give thanks, man. This will allow for the rest of the community over here in the UK to actually, have their expenses subsidized, where they can actually get a flight over to the US. I just want to give thanks to everybody who's donated Tony Mason, Adam Bonsu, Glenda Jones, John Robinson, Jennifer Davis, and of course my brother Olu Sheyi Olu, my brother. All right. So yeah, so thanks for everybody who's actually donated and is supporting the cause. We're doing great things. We're trying to be at the forefront of everything, to be honest with you, giving you groundbreaking information and dropping that heat, baby, dropping that heat. Again, if you've got any questions before I close on the show, I know it's late over where we are in the UK. It's after 12. I know a US audience, you lot just starting your day basically. So family, if you've got anything to say, just literally tag Titans TV for any last minute questions or comments that you would like to give to my brother, and I'll definitely do my best to relay them back to him. All right, I'm literally just watching the comment section right now, so if you've got anything, just let us know, family. Let me just put it on the TV, the YouTube right now. Yep, they're saying, yeah, late but good info. Let me just quickly get everything read out. Thank you all for sharing. Sarnetta TV has nominated Titans TV for Sarnetta TV Awards. Please support and vote for Titans TV. Oh man, yeah, baby, we need that support. Yeah, enjoy the show. My sister, Betty War is saying that late info for early greatness. Whoo, jeez, I like that. S Science. That's my queen right there. Karba Nebti Ankt. All right, family. I'm trying to zoom out, but it's not working. But yeah, family. It's actually been awesome to have my brother Netjer Neb on the panel. And not just on the panel, being our Titan and doing an exposition on the hieroglyphs. Okay, because we rarely get to go in on the hieroglyphs itself. We rarely actually go in on the Kemetic work, which really and truly we really should be, but we've been giving everybody else the opportunity to come on and present the information. And finally, we're getting back into the roots, the grounding, where we originally started off, the stuff that I personally enjoy. Sometimes I think like, what I like and I enjoy is so niche. Yeah. I always think like, is everybody on this information, or is this a little bit, too niche? Okay. I don't want to say too advanced. I just want to say too niche for certain people. And I'm so happy that you lot was actually tuned in, and hopefully you got something today. You learned something. I know I learned something. This is one of my savers. This is one of my teachers. This is person that I go back and forth with, to get information, to learn stuff, to get resources. He just, is the brother that will fill you up with loads of resources for you to go ahead and do your own research. So if you want to contact my brother, it's Netjer Neb, Per Netjer Research Foundation. Just please check him out, message him, and I'm sure he will definitely point you in the right direction as well. All right, cool. Netjer Neb, any last words before we close out?
No, brother. Just want to thank you. I will be voting for Titans TV. Vote for Titans TV. The brother allows scholars to give a voice, like he allows Asar to come on. He's a linguistic genius. Myself, I'm not at that level yet, but I'm trying to get there, studying hard. A lot of people say I am that, but I'm humble. I have more errors that I need to work on, and I have a lot of more growth to go. So just shout out to the Sudan, Africa, that supports us, and to London and Baltimore City and New Orleans. So that's what it do.
All right. All right, family, we're signing out right now. I just want to say Hotep, peace, and I'll see you guys on the other side.